Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Parker, go by one who parks on Discord.
This is Aaron. I go by Treffinwood on Discord.
It's like we're all back together.
I know, right?
It's like no one even missed 2.5 months of podcasting.
Like an old shoe. I like it. Fits right
Now,
back.
if only we could get Jeremy to show up for anything or talk to anybody, it would be great.
He could. Stranger things have
I
happened?
don't think he can.
I think it's possible.
Well, name one stranger thing that's happened.
The ozone layer. It healed. That was pretty strange. We were pretty sure that was going to be the end of the world, right? When I was a kid, I remember that was the sign of the
I
apocalypse.
remember that was going to be the end of the world. Yeah, I also remember Y2K was going to be the end of the world.
Yeah.
I got so used to end of the world bullshit.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm just saying. We were able to get through those things. Maybe Jeremy comes back, just like
It's funny how as time progresses, there are a lot more fake end of world crap than there used to be. Like the end of the world used to be like World War, and then it was nukes, and then it was basically just that for 4 decades. And now it's like every year there's a new end of the world thing.
Well, it's like flavors of the week, right? It's like
Yeah.
People's attention can't hold on for that long, so they have to make a new thing, or rather perhaps those things are still there, but people just kind of slide sideways to other things because they get bored.
I did enjoy the cursed culture that grew from the COVID years when everybody's like, why is everything the world? Like we've altered the timeline in some way, and this is our universe spiraling out of control. And there was this screenshot. I was like, archaeologists find new undiscovered tomb in Egypt with fully sealed sarcophagus with writing on it they can't read. It's like, put that shit back. This is the wrong year. Don't open it. I've seen this movie. Get out of here. Leave that shit alone. It's like, why are you tempting fate? Just put that shit back.
The only COVID time thought that I still have, because I blocked so much of that from my memory as trauma probably, but I do remember, or do you remember how within weeks all of the most smog encrusted places in the world all cleared, and people took pictures of blue skies in LA and Beijing and Hong Kong and Mexico City and these places where animals feared to tread for the air pollution alone, and then there's just people are seeing condors here and seals here, and just you're like, what? Where do these animals come from? It's it turns out they were always fucking there. They're fucking terrified of people coming and going.
Yeah.
And I think I remember that was every once in a while I think about that. I was like, that's how long it'll take if we ever do actually kick the bucket. If any of these terrible things ever do befall humanity, it will take that long for nature to blink and then just be carry right on without us. So that's how fast. Just a few weeks. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's like in Endgame when the whales are back in the harbors and stuff, and you're like, oh, this is weird. And you're like, yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, if you just don't literally pile a mountain of shit on it every single day, it'll get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So jumping into media as a segue, I was just randomly turning on something to watch in the background while I was working on some stuff. So I put on Zodiac on Netflix. It's a movie I've seen before.
The OG movie? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
is there
it's a movie I've seen before.
Isn't there
There's a bunch of Zodiac
themed
movies.
I'm with you.
But the one I'm thinking of is the RDJ one, right? And a lot of people know that one.
Right.
But I was just noticing, I knew RDJ obviously is now famous Iron Man. But there are so many MCU actors in that movie. It's like 90% of them.
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo is the lead detective.
Uh-huh.
And then it's obviously RDJ, Jake Gyllenhaal is Mysterio.
Yeah.
And it's just the more people you see, it's this guy is also in the MCU. It's just is it the same casting director? What happened?
Maybe. Yeah, that kind of shit. Sometimes they travel in packs.
Yeah.
Zodiac. That's a movie I haven't put on my radar in so long.
It's a surprisingly fun watch for something that's really morbid.
I don't think anything called Zodiac. I don't think I call Zodiac fun watch, but I get your point. It's entertaining, is what you mean. Not that it's
it's gripping. You're constantly entertained, despite not a lot happens on screen. Right? It's a lot of talking.
Yeah. I've been rewatching Spy Family. And the reason why I have is my daughter has been excited to watch it for a long time, but my oldest, and I kept telling her, no, probably not yet, because it's a little too violent. It's not very violent, but it's a little too violent. And I just want to make sure she could put things in perspective. Yeah, and so I've been watching it with her, and it's been an absolute blast. I've been really enjoying. This is the first anime I've watched with her. She's watched some very kiddie stuff on Netflix and things, but I haven't sat down and watched one with her, like a series that I consider having some cut spot. And she's been having a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun. So we've been enjoying that together. This is the first she and I only show, because my two girls and I have watched little kid serials like Star versus the
Chainsaw
Forces
Man.
yeah, like Star versus the Forces of Evil, or what's the name? Oh my gosh, I'm just blanking on it. The one with the gyms, like their persona, like their gym constructs, and there's a boy who's part gym, part human, and oh my god, I can't believe Steven Universe.
Dr. Stone.
Yeah, Steven Universe. Not Dr. Stone. Although
I haven't seen Dr. Stone.
I
I'm
haven't
just
either.
guessing it had stones in it.
I haven't.
Like,
I haven't either. I don't even know if Dr. Stone. I don't know if there's anything in necessarily that would be too bad for young children.
Yeah.
But so this is the first, like I said, the first anime that I've watched with her, and I am excited. Okay. Because this heralds something I've been waiting for very patiently, because one of the very few like routine things that I really enjoyed with my dad was watching films, primarily movies, but also television, that was way too old for me. Like that was something that he would do fairly constantly. He'd be like, "You just turned 8. Time to watch Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger." I'm like, "Okay." Like I just believed him, and I just jumped in. And that was one of the things I really enjoyed doing with him. And I've looked forward to that, but I was unwilling to let my daughter watch Commando at age 8.
Scar your children.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it one day. Like we don't know, like my brother and I, we don't know how we weren't warped at all by that. Maybe there's less to that warping, or perhaps it's the fact that he was there and not just letting us go to our own devices and watch whatever the hell we wanted. Like he was there and I guess making it a safe environment. I don't know. But I remember being scarred by the Predator. I remember like the Predator at age 9. I probably shouldn't have watched that, right? Like that was a bit too much, but that was a nightmare.
I've never subscribed to the thought process that violence in media directly correlates to like damage of psyche and stuff like that. Like
right.
I do think things that are overtly traumatic, like Saw, for example, combines gore with psychological terror, and that's something obviously you wouldn't expose a child to. But like there's so many action movies that are like cartoonishly silly that also happen to have like gore and death in them, and I think it's as long as the concept of a human brain, it should be able to separate this is not serious and this is serious. Like, right. It's like, this is not condoning the actions. This is just simply showing them. And so then at the same time, as long as you're not putting them through traumatic experiences on top of the gore and the action, then I've never thought that there's any correlation to that at all.
We don't have a lot of scientific research to support it. One thing that is funny that we do have research for is that people will find traumas even when it's unintended. Like children will find things that assuredly aren't scary. They'll find them that terrifying, because we kind of search for we don't search for trauma, but we do search for the things that impact us. And so if we're surrounded by fluffy pillows, the sharpest pillow will still hurt us, right? Like that's kind of the idea. Like for me, I remember when I was a kid, the earliest scary thing I remember in a movie, and I was terrified of the water for years because of Pinocchio, the OG Disney.
Yeah,
the Monstro. Monstro terrified me. My daughter my oldest was terrified of like basements for a long time because of the movie Zootopia. She really didn't like the sheep character. This is like bad guy sheep character that's actually patterned off of Walter White in Breaking Bad. He's like in a RV underground mixing this like drug that's the antagonist uses to hurt people. And so like that the thought of that sheep, like she would say, I don't want to go downstairs because the sheep. Like she was, but again, she were watching Zootopia on a vacation surrounded by her family and loved ones. Like why would she find that?
Can you back off your mic a little bit?
Oh.
Yeah, so like for example, I think if as an adult you sat down and watched Commando with your child and then watched Pinocchio with your child, you would be more concerned with them watching Pinocchio after the fact.
Yes, I would, because
Like,
I was about
there's
to. Yeah.
there's so many horribly creepy things in Pinocchio that like are clearly alluding to shit that children should have nothing to do with.
Right. Aaron, did.
I think you went too far. You're quiet now.
Oh.
You were just breathing into your mic before, so
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe raise it a bit.
How about that? Is that.
Seems okay.
Aaron, I'm curious. When was the first time you showed your son, or your son is younger, right? So your daughter was older, right?
Other way around.
Oh, okay. So when was the first time you remember showing your oldest something? You're like, you know what? Now is the time. I'm finally going to show them this thing that I love, because I don't think they were ready, but now they are. Do you remember that?
I'm pretty sure we were, while they were still very young, showing them like Jurassic World.
I mean, well, I was gonna say, when did you guys watch Star Wars? Because that has tons of death in it. Like,
super
they killed an
early.
entire planet worth of people. Yeah.
We
Like,
so we
but
are.
it's not from like a morbid or like traumatic tone. It's like a happy story about how this stuff kind of like violence isn't okay.
So we've never shied away from showing our kids violence. We have shied away from gratuitous violence. So I don't think there's gratuitous violence in, say, either like not Jaws, Jurassic World or Star Wars. Like, there's some gruesome stuff, but like, picture Jurassic World. Like, they're not showing like, zombie horror entrails being, thrown out. Just show a guy getting eaten in half, like whatever.
Okay, yeah.
So
yeah, you'll see like a severed limb occasionally, a little bit of blood.
So this is the time when they were like, I don't know, 4 or 5 or 6, something like that, when they should have been watching the movie Dinosaur, but instead we were watching Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's interesting. I don't know, because like I said again, I think it probably has to come down with the environment you're surrounding them with, and less the actual content that they're seeing. I think the idea of gratuity is probably important, but it's interesting. There's one time when I actually was watching over their shoulder. I walked by my kids and I was watching them watch something, and I actually said, you know what? No, let's not do that. And it's because there was one thing that I thought it was the way violence was being used. Do you guys remember the Powerpuff Girls? Do you remember this show? Did we talk about this? Did I talk about this on cast? I can't remember.
I'm aware of the show. I don't know if we've talked about this specifically.
One day I was walking past the girls, so they put Powerpuff Girls back on, I think it's Netflix, and my girls were watching it, and I was like, oh, I remember that show. That was a fun show. But that came out when I was in high school. And so as I walked by, I just sat and watched an episode. And in this episode, I remembered it very clearly, the name of the character, because I had seen reruns so much as a kid. I was like, oh yeah, this is that Fuzzy Lumpkin, that like hillbilly character. The whole point of Fuzzy is that he gets he gets really mad about people touching his stuff. Like, get off my property is his like trigger. And so he goes on this rampage because he thinks people are trying to take things from him, and he's very possessive. And the girls fight him, but he is so strong that they fight to a standstill. But eventually they figure out that he just really cares about his possessions, and so they fix it. They like give him his possessions back, and they help him feel better. And like, and at the end of that moment, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, they realize, oh, okay, so this bad guy's not really a bad guy. He just has this motivation, and it's not right, but we should try to help him manage this whatever this is that he's dealing with. And so he thanks them. He goes, thanks, girls. And they go, you're welcome, Fuzzy. And then they beat the shit out of him. They literally like blood and teeth in this kid's show like pop out of his mouth, and they wail on him for like 15 seconds in like cool, animated moments, and he just
just beat him up because to show that when he's not mad, he's not strong?
Yes, I guess. Or that he broke laws, like he did destroy property, right, and endanger people while he was on a rampage. And so they beat the snot out of him, and they save the day is like always the last thing they do, thanks to the Powerpuff Girls. And I was like, what? Like this? And so I said, girl. And so I thought about it. I thought about like my memory of all Powerpuff Girls episodes. Like, that's actually the arc of most Powerpuff Girls episode. They introduce a round antagonist. The Powerpuff Girls help them sort of, and then beat the shit out of them. I'm like, wow, you know what? No, this is not a pattern of behavior that I want you to do unsupervised. And so they've asked me since then, can we watch Powerpuff Girls? I was like, you know what? Maybe one day when I'm around and we can like talk about this. But that was one of those things that felt to me like a kind of gratuitous violence, right? Like, yeah, they were fighting And
it's not obviously not gruesome. They're just
No.
showing that violence is used in an improper way.
Yeah, violence is used to solve a problem that wasn't there, right? We're gonna beat you up anyway. Like that was the message. And maybe that's not every episode, but it made me kind of sad because I know there are some brilliant. Genndy Tartakovsky, the guy who directed that, is also the guy who directed the OG Clone Wars series, the original one before they did the CG one, and he also did Dexter's Lab and the Hotel Transylvania
Samurai
movies,
Jack.
and Samurai Jack, and the new one. I love the new Samurai Jack season. Primal, you guys ever see Primal, the very adult one he just made?
Josh is a fan.
Yeah, and I was just like, these are amazing. I want them to see Genndy Tartakovsky, but after I was like, I don't remember him being this crude with violence. I don't remember it because in Samurai Jack and in Primal, everything is very tied to the motivations of characters. It's not just violence for its own sake, like this Powerpuff Girls one. Anyway, that was a lot. That was a long
Aaron,
diatribe.
It is. Aaron, have you seen anything lately you want to talk about?
We watched Wicked 2. I think did we talk about that last time?
No.
Okay. As a family, went out to watch Wicked 2, and anyone thinking to do so should just save your money and stay home.
Thank you. I was
Is it like Joker, where the second one just sucks?
Oh,
ish.
Do you want to? I mean, have you seen the musical, Aaron, as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So I had not seen the musical, and so I did not realize how bad the second act of the musical was. But if that movie is anything like the second act of the musical, I would also going to save my money and never see the second act of that musical, because man, oh man, it was just. Can I give you a critique? Okay. I'll say this: when I leave a movie, I have this really intense need to critique it. Like I want to sit down in my critic's hat and I want to tear it apart to pieces and look for flaws. And my wife hates it. Like she really, really doesn't like that exercise. And so I have a rule that after she and I watch a movie, I don't get to talk for 2 hours, and then I get to call my brother because he and I can tear movies apart and we enjoy that. That's the rule. But this time with Wicked 2, it was so bad. Sarah was like, "We can start now." And I was like, "We can start now?" And she's like, "Yeah, let's start now."
No grace period on this one. Both barrels.
And so yeah, we just literally sat there for 2 hours and just talked about all the things we were disappointed by. And she did some research. That's who she is. She has to go research and find the surround how things were produced or how things were translated from screenplays and things like that to look for the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just like, she also has not seen the original musical, which is rare for us because we see a lot of musicals. But she's like, she says, as for what I could tell, they did a fairly good job adapting the musical, and everyone agrees that the second half of the musical is just a shade of the first half. So what do you think? Having someone who has seen the original, did you have a good high opinion of the second act and therefore interested in the second movie, or were you ready for disappointment?
First of all, I have short term, no long term. My long term memory is absolutely horrible. Always has been. For stuff that I don't get, habit patterns I can develop, right? But I can reread a book 10 years later and literally not remember it. My wife's like, so I could not have told you, I could remember highlights from the musical, but I could not have walked you through everything that happened in it, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to say the musical is better than the movie because in the musical, they're doing stuff with the actors on stage that is more impressive than the CGI they're doing on a screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they're lifting up in the air and when she has the big finale to the first act with her song and everything. It's really good and it's moving. I think you have more emotion in a musical, specifically Wicked, the first act, than you do in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the first act the first movie was fine. The second one, here's the problem: is it stays pretty true to the book. So I think my issue is with the source material, not necessarily. Although I do have several critiques about how they did it. I just think that the story is dog shit. So many loose ends. So many.
Okay, see, and that's exactly my problem. Was there were so many loopholes. I told my biggest critique, and then I'll stop talking about how my negative opinion on Wicked. I felt like Act 1 of the musical was somebody sat down and went, let's make a story about how Elphaba and Glinda knew each other. And we'll put some really good, catchy songs with this. It will introduce some new characters that tie them together. That's it. And then it was like, cool, let's really put some effort and some thought into this, and let's make it really impactful. So every song really leaves like people with an impression. And so every song you think you know about, I didn't know this, but every song I knew from Wicked, just because of living in pop culture and appreciating musicals, all of them came from Act 1. and so when Act 2 came along, it's almost as if they said, okay, now let's take all those characters from Act 1 and let's see if we can fit them into another movie made 20 years ago. And you're like, what? Like, yeah, let's just go ahead and make sure that all the characters in Act 1 just become things in a different movie. You're like, but that's
so
not...
I haven't seen either. So is it literally just like Wicked 2 takes place during The Wizard of Oz?
Part of it, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's like a time jump in the middle?
No.
It's an hour between Wicked 1 and 2. Or sorry, a year.
Okay.
A year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is imperceptible in... Like, everyone looks the same, unless you didn't know any better.
When you don't change the cast or the costumes, the makeup,
they're not older. It's just supposedly a year has passed.
And the idea is by the last quarter of the second act, it takes place entirely within the beginning, middle, and end of Wizard of Oz. So, like, you basically the entirety of the plot of Wizard of Oz passes within the second act, and that's not even the whole part. And if you're like, that seems like you'd have to do a lot, and you're like, yeah, you're like, it seems like there's no way for you to actually get all that done. You're like, yeah, that's the kind of so the whole second half of the whole second movie. And therefore, the plot of this Act 2, I was like, "Wow, they are just."
I feel like you could have just redone
hope.
Wizard of Oz like as a middle movie, and then done the rest of the shit with Wicked 3.
Right? Or they could have just said, Act 2 about this. It just is going to take place before the Wizard of Oz, and we're not even going to try to answer any questions about the Wizard of Oz. Like if they just said that and said go. I'm sure they could have made a really smashing second act for a musical and therefore a movie. But I think it's because they tried to cram a square peg in a round hole, right? They're just like trying to shove it in.
If they're just adapting the musical, though, like that's not their job. So it sounds like the critique is with the original concept of the musical, right?
Yes.
Not the movie.
And the musical is from a book.
Just
so it all goes back to the original book.
Sure.
What an idiot book writer.
Yeah.
Anyway. Cool. Parker, have you caught up with My Hero Academia?
No, it is the number one thing on my list besides re-listening to Dresden. I've been spending a lot of time listening to Dresden, but honestly,
fun by Bitcoin.
I've been so excited about Dresden. I've actually done something I didn't even do since I've only done it since first listens. There have been a few moments in the books that I've just been like, okay, I know I'm supposed to like be doing something right now, but I have to give my full attention to this. So I'm just going to go into a dark room and listen to Dresden.
And just let the scene play out.
And so I've been doing that enough that I've looked around and went, oh shit, it's like 9:00. I probably should like start getting ready for bed or something. So I haven't kept up with My Hero. It's not the whole season yet. I know that, right? It's just they're doing
the last episode is being dubbed this week.
Is it really?
It's over. Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Epilogue.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it's done.
Well, I'm really glad to know that. I am going to. It is on the tip top of my list. I am super excited.
I feel I need to give you a heads up. So you haven't watched any of the new season?
None. The internet tried to spoil it for me, and I've just been la 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 la. Yeah.
It's fairly short. There's not a lot to it, if I recall right. It's like the final episodes kind of thing. Like
sure.
It's just like a wrap up. The final part of it, I wouldn't be too excited about.
Okay.
However, everything before that is great.
Yeah.
Like very, very good.
Right.
It's just like the friends you made along the way is the ending. So like just get ready for the final part to be like, all right, we're now all the fucking like I don't want to call it lazy or bad writing. It's all of the kitschiness is going to be in the final episodes.
Got it.
And so it's like power, friendship, like, just be prepared for that.
Okay.
There's an obvious ripoff of a pop culture thing that happens at the end, right before the final 2 episodes. I was fine with it because I like that content, but It's just like you can't miss it. It's so blatantly obvious what the ripoff is,
Okay.
and it's like it's so blatant. I was like, can they do that? Is that allowed?
Ooh, it's that much.
Yeah.
And you know what? And that kind of thing doesn't bother me. Like when people say like,
Mhm.
when people say like James Cameron's Avatar is a knockoff of Pocahontas, I go, but I liked Pocahontas. Like, like I'm fine with that again.
Sure.
I'd like to see that reskinned. That would be fine with me if it's done well. And so it doesn't bother me so much. But thank you for the warning. That I'm not. That
I'm
doesn't
trying
deter
to
me at
think
all.
of an example of two scenes that are so eerily similar.
Mm.
That's like, how did you get away with ripping that off?
Wow. Okay.
And I just can't think of ones that are this similar. Like it's like shot for shot. You're like, oh my
wow.
god.
Okay. I had this hilarious picture in my mind of like it's exactly for some reason Bill Murray's Groundhog Day. Like it's just like something
It
so
almost
strange
feels
out of
that
left
way.
field.
Like it is. You'll immediately know, and
Okay.
you'll probably message me like, holy shit. Like trying to think
Okay.
of like movies that are like affect. Okay.
Well, Hot Fuzz does that exactly on purpose because it's an homage. That's the movie I think
Well,
of.
it's an homage, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know that it's supposed to be an homage, but it feels like an homage.
Okay.
So you know how like in Force Awakens, there's definitely just a Death Star,
Yeah.
and then they blow up the Death Star.
Uh-huh.
Imagine if it was that, but Star Trek, and you're like, you can't do that. Like that's not okay.
Okay. Okay.
You're like, that's the same thing.
Okay. All right. I'll reserve judgment. I'm excited to talk to you about it.
And like I said, I didn't hate it, but just like
Okay.
just be aware that because for example, like the fight with Overhaul is a really fun, interesting fight.
Right.
And then kind of like the very end of it is just kind of like hand wavy. Like it's like,
Yeah.
all right, it's over. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like that. The beginning part of the fight is the interesting part of the fight.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Anyway, I'm desperately looking for new anime to watch now, but I guess I should just wait 5 weeks.
I was
going
going to say,
all the new
then
anime
you'll get all the anime. Ooh.
Yeah.
Speaking of waiting, I'm taking a sideways to Aaron. Aaron. In 2 days, I get my Druid Man.
Yep.
Druid Man.
Yeah.
Druid Man
Everyone
is
quit that
coming.
fucking game.
I am so excited. I am so excited. And when I saw, okay, can I tell you one thing that made me a little mad? I was watching the
You mean
character
angry?
reveal and then the development. Oh, so what did you say?
Nothing.
Oh, what made
You
me
said
mad?
it made you mad. I said, do you mean angry?
Yeah, I mean angry. It made me irate. Was when he turned into a bear, I was like, that's fucking awesome. Like we turned into a werewolf and like there was a pack of werewolves around. I was like, let's fucking go. Wolves and werewolves, that's so fucking cool. When he turned into a dragon, I went, fuck, turn off. Like I almost just turned off the video and been like, that will be a tree I will never use. Go fuck yourself. I don't want to turn into a dragon. That's dumb. I don't know why. The whole internet is going nuts for the fact that you could turn into a dragon in a video game. And for some reason, that excites me absolutely not at all. In fact, it turns me off from the character.
I've never understood the infatuation with people being dragons.
Yeah.
That's like, I think people thinking dragons are cool, people liking dragons as villains, like all that makes sense. Wanting to be a dragon,
Yeah.
and like the concept is like there's classes in D&D where it's like disciple of the dragon. It's like, well, you grow wings at level 12, and you get a breath weapon at level 6, and you're like, you get dragon claws that look, no, that's stupid. Why would you ever want to do that? And it's all people ever want to ask about. It's like, what about Dragonborn? It's like, shut the fuck up. Who wants to be a fucking dragon?
Right.
It's like big dumb lizard.
Aaron, were you excited for the dragon? Are you not like us and just super pro dragon?
I have not even watched the video yet.
What? Did I just spoil it for you? I'm so sorry. I should have started with that. I just
That's
assumed
okay.
you had
You don't
seen
need to worry about that.
Okay. I just assumed you had seen it. It's only that video was like a minute and a half long.
Sure.
But I was super excited when he was doing everything I wanted, which isn't. If I remember correctly, it's been so long since Diablo 2 with the Druid expansion in Diablo 2. Mm-hmm. You were like, you kind of spec'd into Bear, or you spec'd into Wolf, or you spec'd into Magic. And that was kind of how you ran them, if I remember correctly. From the gameplay that we saw, which again, I'm not sure, and I don't even know exactly how. I haven't played Path of Exile late game at all. I barely played mid game. it looks like it's more of a fluid thing, where like you're transforming into each kind. You probably get bonuses by speccing heavily into one, but the one I saw, he was a bear and he slammed the fist, and then he turned back into a human and did a bunch of lightning bolts, and then turned into a wolf and
It's like
slashed.
Udyr, you get the buff when you transform.
Maybe that'd be cool. Maybe that's cool. I am excited for the druid a whole bunch. So
Cool.
get
I
ready.
normally don't play the class that is currently being released.
Mhm.
I might break my mold and play a druid this league. We'll see.
Oh yeah, nice. Do they call seasons leagues? Is that what that is? That
Yeah, they call them leagues. Yep.
okay, leagues. Okay. Like I said, I haven't even gotten to the mid game, so I don't even know what the end of the game looks like. But I am very excited. So you said you haven't looked at anything at all. Like you know nothing. You're just going to jump. Oh, that's because that's what you like in Path of Exile, right? You like to just jump in, feet totally clean, and see how they get wet.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Like I will read the patch notes just so I know. Like I'm reading them right now.
Oh.
Like Abyss was added as a core mechanic. Okay, cool. Good to know that. What last league's mechanic is not going to be core to the game.
Mm.
So I do not need to do a whole lot of deep diving into the character, and I'm not going to look up a meta build. So that's how I'm going to enjoy the game. I'm just going to plug in character, go, and then sometime around level 50, I'll be like, okay, scrap character, redo my tree. Now I'm going to figure out what to do for real, whether it's looking stuff up or doing it myself. But anyway, I do want to know like the basics of what they've changed. Like if there's any core changes to how the game functions. Like did dodge rolling just go away? Like
right.
I don't want to spend my first 4 hours being like, I keep pressing spacebar, nothing's happening.
Right.
So I will get a glimpse of all of that.
That makes sense. But you don't go in for, like you said, the meta builds and stuff like that. I don't usually do that either. I want to see what the game has. My problem will be just playing, because I have a tendency to like search out for every nook and cranny for every single thing, and I won't progress the game forward because I'll be too busy looking at this thing that I don't need to look at. I can just move forward. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I tend to play the ARPGs more like D&D, where it's like I have to loot every object,
right?
Because that's how there is one dungeon, not like, well, no, it's all about like loot tabs per minute or whatever, like because you're just rushing through it. It makes no sense to my brain. It's like, no, there's stuff on the ground, I need to pick it up.
Right. But there's a part of the map that's still gray. I have to go to that spot. I have to see the border of every map. Duh. Like that's not the way it works. But anyway, I'm going to be a druid, and I'm not looking back. I'm really excited about this. I'm also kind of excited because like I played it when it came out, and I played it for like, I want to say like 8 hours, and I enjoyed it. But there were so many parts of the game that were still grayed out, right? Like so many tabs and things that were just like, yeah, to be later. And so
They'll still be that way, but yeah.
What's that?
There'll still be some of that.
There's some of that, but I'm excited to see more things filled in. So I can mouse over and be like, ooh, that's cool.
Yep.
I think I've gotten my spell cards the way I want them for Old World.
Ooh,
look at that.
They're not perfect, but they're about as good as I can do on a residential printer.
What about them did you not like before? Like, what about it was?
Well, mainly that they don't line up, and so if you print on the front and the back on a residential printer, the objects don't line up. They don't do that. So like you have to have like a commercial grade printer to get that. So I'm moving them around like a fifth, like or 0.005 millimeters at a time. So where like the offcut of the paper plus like the roller drag will line up, because it pushes it out and then it pulls it back in and turns it over, and in that there's slippage, and so I'm trying to get like it to line up right. So it's still a little off. Like if you look at it at the light, there's like a small shadow of like the borders of the cards are in different spots. It would be easy if I just didn't put borders on them, but I want them to have borders, so because I want them to look like playing cards, kind of.
Yeah.
Anyway, so. And then I went through, I converted all of the spells in the game into editable text, and then I put them in the stat blocks with the formatting I have with the font and everything. But if you look here, there's this top part is like the flavor text of the spell describing what's happening. That doesn't actually have game effect. And then that's italicized. Then down here, there's the actual component of the spell. Then there's the which school it's from or lore it's from.
Dude, that's great.
The version of it, so you know which legality you're looking at, because almost all the spells in the game have been changed at this point. because they did a big magic overhaul, and so you know what version of the spell you're looking at. Then there's also the fan group that does the updates, and so they have those updates in here as well. And so it's got everything you need for the spell.
That is really cool.
So
Did
I had
you
to
feel
make
like you?
all of the cards first.
I was gonna say, do you feel like that was a big hunt? Like, is that like
Finding the information was easy. Like I found
okay.
several websites that had databases of all of it, so that's the easy part.
Okay.
The hard part is going through and going like, this is a conveyance spell. It is difficulty 8/10, and then it is range 12, and then and then copy and pasting everything in, and then formatting and centering all of the text, and then make sure there's no typos and fixing stuff like that, and then organizing all of them into groups that I can easily print. That took a long time.
Yeah.
But it took nearly as long, not like nearly as long, but it took probably 4 hours of tweaking the printer to try and get it to print right. And so I think I'm finally at a point where I'm happy.
I've been exactly there doing proxy cards for games and stuff like that before I realized that there are a lot of people on the internet who make that shit for you. I did not realize that was a thing, and I remember way back when being like
dozens of websites that will just do it for you.
I know, but as a kid being like, I want this card, so let me take the next 45 minutes to arrange it
and you print it, it's like huge. Yeah. You're like, fuck. Yeah. Like, what do we do now?
Right. When I became a teacher, I just used their printers all the time, and I was like, just not reams of paper, but a fair amount of paper worth of shit that just total errors. And because
like Jeremy bringing out a briefcase full of paper every time there's a judgment update, like here you go, everybody. Like,
yeah, he stopped doing that, and I'm happy that he stopped doing it. It made me feel bad. Just it was very generous of him to be willing to keep up with it, but it's a losing battle.
I was watching a stand-up comedian talk about how when he was in high school, it was like, you ever done something stupid at work and you caused your business to close? It's like, what? It's like, yeah, so I worked at a movie theater, and I figured out, because I was a genius, after only 8 months of working there, I figured out that if the movie ticket costs $7, they give me $7 cash. And because this is like the late 90s. And he would just turn around and he would just hit the child button, and it would charge him $3. And so he'd put $3 in the till and put the other $4 under the counter. And then just every person that came in, he'd ring them up as a child unless they paid with a credit card, which was rare back then. And so he would just pocket $4 per customer. So I went from making $5.15 an hour to $805.15 per hour. It's like, God damn it. And then, the smart child I was, I told everyone I worked with about this great strategy. So about 5 weeks later, someone from corporate shows up. And they're like, we're going to have an all-hands meeting. He's like, well, you don't need me, right? I just run the register. You don't need me. And she's like, actually, I think we'll need you. It's going to be really important. She's like, gosh. Okay. I would describe this meeting as embezzlement-heavy focus. It's like, God damn it, dude. It was very funny. Anyway. So yeah, I'm excited to use new spell cards for Old World. Also, in Wargaming talk, I printed my first set of Necropolis terrain.
Ooh.
For an order or personal use?
No, for Chad. Mr. Chad from Des Moines.
Cool.
After having printed it, there are a lot of things I like about it. There are several things I dislike about it that I think that they should have done differently. But primarily, I think a lot of the basic concepts, like the concept of reducing material so it can be cheaper to print, was a really good idea. It is surprisingly easier to print. Most of the time for terrain, when you're printing, it's going to be mostly the area it displaces is the issue. And so it cost me 7 10-inch build plates of space, and it barely fits. Like, there's not like a half plate at the end. It is 7. I spent 12 hours trying to get to fit on just 7 10-inch plates. So that was an accomplishment to get that low. The new Necropolis set easily fits on 4. There's a little bit extra space. So it's much smaller of a footprint, which is really good. And a lot of it is very thin and flat, so it's easy to print and functional. But for some reason, there are, like, the shrines have a lot of really spindly detail that sticks off of the piece, which makes it, I would imagine, very hard to store and transport without breaking. Because there's all these little tiny, like, Gothic spires that stick up off the corners and stuff. And then on the walls, there's all these really thin bars that are like encapsulating little, like, I guess mausoleums. They're like little places where you put like skulls and stuff. But there's these paper thin little bars that cover them. I'm just like, bro, this is gonna destroy itself if you try and like just dry brush it, let alone paint it. Oof. So there's just some stuff like that I had not really looked at before. But overall, I thought it was a good set. Because I would say the Nether Marsh doesn't really have that small, intricate detail issue. It is also massive and arguably hideous, like depending on your affinity towards mushrooms.
My problem with the Troll Marsh actually was I felt like I couldn't tell what was what, like what it represented in the game very easily, because everything's very biological and some of the descriptions very magical, right? And
yeah,
so
I can see that.
And I
now,
do
given
like the fact that the terrain in, what do they call it, Necropolis set is supposed to be like more or less man-made, so they could give it that.
Yeah, it's all like concrete and stone and
Right.
metal, and
they could be like, this is a sigil. Like the sigil is probably where the soul spawns. Okay, doy, moving forward.
No, yeah, I think it's very easy to tell what's what. The only thing that's close is like the portals and the shrines and the pillars are all just kind of tall building-ish looking things. And so the portal you can kind of get, obviously, especially with game knowledge, because you know it's a 2-hex piece. The shrines and the pillars, like, if I didn't tell you which was which, you would have no idea. But, I mean, again, if you have knowledge of the maps, it becomes extremely obvious, because it's like, well, I know there's not a map with 3 fucking pillars, so it's not that.
That is cool.
Overall, thumbs up. I do wish they had gone easy on the super intricate detail, but...
Are you still, I saw you did some, like, I don't know if they were test prints or you're printing them for someone else. You did some templates for different characters that make forests and walls and things like that. Do you still make those, or was that just like a test thing, or was that just for you?
That was a project I was experimenting with.
Okay.
I think I only had 1 or 2 people ever be interested enough to buy them, so I haven't like made a lot of them. But I was gonna do that stuff, then I got busy, and Judgment was no longer a primary focus for me. So
yeah, I would, if you ever decided to make them again, I would purchase some, but I don't know. It's got to be worth your time. So.
I mean, it's worth time to make them. It's just not worth time to design them.
Right.
So now the ones I've already made, like I have the wild growth, I've got the ice wall. The problem with the ice wall is kind of annoying because it could be either wall. I kind of wish it just said which wall it was, because the way I have to do it is you basically do a 2-hex piece and a 1-hex piece, and then you just build the wall however you want.
Right.
Which is fine. It's functional. I prefer things that are more complete. Yeah. I don't like having to make my own shit on the fly, but it functionally works on the table. Okay. I just would have preferred if it was just one way or the other.
Right.
Like I wouldn't want to get, like, let's say the wild growth could be the big forest or the small forest. Like I wouldn't want to have like build your own forest on the table. Like I would have preferred just, this is the template. Put it where you want it. Like it's just simpler.
Yeah. I ran into that at Adepticon, Warfare Weekend. I was like, oh, I need to make a ice wall. And so I just reached behind me and stole terrain off a different table. But
yeah, exactly.
It would have been nice.
And because obviously they're flat, they fit in a bag or a pocket or something. And
yeah.
I'm working on, I don't think you've been watching the Old World channel, but I've been working on some new products as well. So
cool.
I'm working on kind of like a little go-to toolbox that has like deployment zone markers, wound markers, charge markers, templates.
Oh no, I saw some of that stuff that you're making. Yeah, I saw some of that.
And then like a dice box that all closes up and holds everything.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Is it going to fit on the, well, no, you guys don't, there's not a box that fits an Old World thing yet, right?
Right, it won't fit in the organizers. Yeah. Because if I could make it fit in the organizers, but then it would be kind of pointless because it'd be too small.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's using organizers with Old World. Even if you did like the smallest army possible, which is like ogres, you'd still need a double wide.
Yeah.
And it would be tight, even fitting that.
Yeah. It would be nice if there was a product like that, because at least everything's a square base, right? So you could possibly
put them on there.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many models that because it works out to be basically you can fit like one 20-man unit and then like a 5-man unit of cavalry per tray, and most armies are like you're going to want bigger stuff than that. And so even if you did all elements that were small enough to individually fit on the trays,
there's going to be some
like 8 or 10 trays worth of slots to hold your whole army.
Right.
And then you're gonna have stuff like dragons or giants or monsters in general, shit like that doesn't fit well in there, and so it's just too hard. So everyone's kind of just going back to the Magnarax that we used for MCP before.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I wish there was a way to do. I mean, I can just print things that would hold metal sheets that would be cheaper than Magnarax, but you just buy a Magnarax. So
yeah. Aaron, have you played more Old World yet?
I have not. I am days away from reclaiming my office.
Oh,
I've been swamped with eBay selling and organizing fab stuff, and so now once all that stuff's out of my office, it's like I said, days. Then I have the box of old bases Brandon gave me, so I can start experimenting with what that's going to look like. So no, I have not played anymore. It's still a desired project, just on the back burner a little bit.
Did you said you're looking at fab stuff? Are you just building like Silver Age stuff, or just?
No, I took one of the local stores box of 8,000 card bulk storage, and I am organizing it.
Hot damn!
So it'll all be organized according to color and who uses what, so people can actually find stuff in it.
Sweet. So it's just like, are you getting like compensated for this in any way, or are you just like doing it for fun?
Well, I volunteered, just do it for fun, and they said they're going to give me like $20 store credit. So
okay, you won the tournament. Congratulations!
Helping people out by organizing. So as I'm going through this, I'm so mad because I probably spent $50 on stupid common bulk that it's just like overflowing here. Like, yep, this is a card I bought. That's another card I bought. I'm like, fuck me.
Yeah.
So if anyone else, in the Kansas City area gets into the hobby, then hopefully I can be like, oh. What I hope I can do is actually convince people to contribute to the system that I have organized, and then I could just kind of be the repository. Like, you just tell me what you need, and then every Monday I'll show up and tell you if we have it or not. We being the random bulk box.
Nice.
Boxes, plural.
I was gonna say, that could become really handy with people with the Silver Age decks. Like that might be a thing that more people are interested in pursuing. It's cool.
Yeah, the community seemed very open to helping out, especially with bulk. In the past, they've offered like large boxes of bulk cards and stuff, but we just don't really have space for it at the Geekery.
Yep, this is one of those big, like it's like 5
rows.
Section. Yeah, it's 5 row, huge 5 row box. Like I said, hopefully I could, if it works out, I could convince the store to buy like 2 more of them, if it's going to drive business their way, and then just have tons of bulk laying around so that people can not have to buy shit off a TCG player.
My random TCG player finally came in. It had like traveled around the world or some shit. I've never had this happen before, but the post office gave me something like almost 4 weeks later than I was supposed to get it, and so I didn't even realize it came. It sat in the bottom of a pile of mail until Sarah just picked it up today and was looking through all the old mail. She goes, "Oh, look at this!" And she said, "This postage is weird." And I looked at it, and it is weird. So I don't know what happened to it, but I finally got the last 3 cards I needed for my deck. I decided I was never going to get them, and I guess I'll just play without them. But now I get to put them on my deck because they eventually came around, and they were just commons like that. They're just bulk, but nobody around here had any, so I had to go that far. So it'd be nice to have another repository. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I get messages from customers all the time where it's like, I haven't gotten my thing yet, and we're like, I checked with my employee, we confirmed that it got to the post office, and it's a tracked package. And it's just like, it just never moves. It just sits stuck in whatever. It's like for whatever reason, the guy just didn't scan it, and it just got stuck in the loop, and then it's just in a box somewhere. Nobody knows where it is. And then eventually 2 weeks later, it starts moving again. You're like, oh my God.
Yep.
Like, so it's like, they're acting like I'm scamming. It's like, bro, it got checked in at the place. Like, well, I don't know what you want from me.
Yep.
Yeah. People want like to blame somebody real hard about that. And I knew, because I've worked, I didn't work for post office, but I worked for FedEx. Like, after doing that job for 2 years, anytime anything like that happens, I go, yep, it's just in some limbo. It's probably not gone forever. It's just in a limbo, because that kind of shit just happens to things. Happens all the time. There's too much fucking. There's just, the volume is insane. Like, there's no way the most perfect system that you could devise is not going to be able to manage every single instance of error. It's just, there's too many things that can happen. So it never bothers me that much when something like that happens. It's inconvenient as hell, and I get why people could be frustrated, but At the same time, this is kind of like the that Louis C.K. joke about the cell phone. When I tell somebody that I was like, I would like 3 playing cards that came out like 3 years ago that no one has anymore because they are effectively worthless. I want to find them somewhere on planet Earth instantly, and with a click of a button for them to be sent magically teleported from that place to this place. And I want this to be done in, like, let's say 10 days. That by itself is insane. It sounds like a fucking
Yeah.
magic spell. And yet people get bent out of shape when it doesn't happen, when it happens in 13 days instead of 10, right? They just get so mad. Like, you guys don't understand. This convenience is
this shit was
incredible.
impossible in
Yeah.
the 2000s.
Yes. It was impossible just 20 years ago, and people were still playing TCGs back then. Like, it's
Here's a fun anecdote that a lot of people don't know about because they weren't in the industry at the time. Did you know that when the set Legends released for Magic the Gathering, there was a hiccup in their distribution? So the card sorters were not well managed. And so what happens is, because you have like the uncut sheets, right? This is every card in the set, one of every version of the card. Then we stamp cut it, and then it gets piled into a stack, and then we just randomize those cards and put them in booster packs. So like there's some formula of movement that ends up with like 1 rare, 3 uncommons, 10 commons, blah, 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 land, blah. And so there's some combination that mixes those cards. But due to the, formulaic performance of this task, it ends up that the cards are seeded, right? So like you just cut all the cards and put them in the same order in a stack instead of on a sheet. Well, then every 5th card is this card, or if there's 50 rares, every 50th card is this card. And so when you're distributing them, you're like, then you put 1 pack in each box, and there's 36 boxes, then it becomes a pattern, and you kind of just do it. But anyway, the result was all of the red cards got shipped to the West Coast, is effectively what happened. It was like 90% of the collection of red cards from the set went to the West Coast. To the West Coast.
Just like red mana? Is that what you're saying? Like,
yeah, any of the cards that use red mana, yeah. Because just the way it was sorting,
just the way
nobody realized that it was creating this pattern where it's like distributing the packs one after another, and it's like, okay, well, this stack was all blue cards, this stack was all red cards, and then they grabbed that stack, they put it on a pallet, that pallet got shipped. It's just like the Michael Scott golden ticket problem. It's like, well, we didn't think about where we were grabbing from, and that was just a big pile of red. And so at the time, because this is pre-internet, red cards on the West Coast were worthless. And red cards in New York City were going for hundreds of dollars because nobody could get them. And nobody knew that it was just a supply chain problem. And so like shit like that doesn't happen anymore. 1, because they fixed the logistics, but also 2, because we have access to everything on the planet.
Right.
Yeah, so it's just a weird problem that you don't have anymore.
That is wonderful. I love that.
Yeah, because I mean, card games weren't that sophisticated back then. Like nowadays, like when they got to around like after I quit, so like after the Mirrodin, 8th edition stuff, they actually started engineering how randomized they were sorting their cards. Because before it was just kind of like, because you can't shuffle them, you damage them, right? Like you have to find a way for a machine to randomize playing cards without really touching them or messing them up. And so it's like, well, what do you do? And so it's just kind of like this weird, issue. It's like, how do we build a machine that's not so complex that it's really expensive to build, but we can still achieve this? And so they have a thing called the maximum travel distance in a sorter. And so I don't know how the sorter works. I just know that there is a maximum travel distance. And so the issue with that is when Worldwake came out, which is the set that Jace the Mind Sculptor was in, the really expensive Planeswalker, he was like $300 or something absurd. And so they changed the travel distance after that set, because if you say there's 50 rares in a set, as an example, and you can travel 20 cards, well, that means that the Jace from one pack could travel 20 cards into another pack, and then the Jace from the first pack could get really close to the entering of another bundle of 50. So in that basically 60 rares, you could put 3 Jace the Mind Sculptors because of the way they could travel within the pack. But you could definitely get 2. And so one booster box could have 2 but could not have 3. It was impossible to get 3 Jace the Mind Sculptors in one box. And so it's just like things like that go into the value of a set, and it's really weird. But then there's also a foil sheet. So if you get the foil Jace, now it's possible to get 3 out of 1. And that box, that single or booster box you bought, might have a sell price of individual cards of like north of $800. And that's if you hit 2 Jaces. If you hit 3, it's well over 1,000. The booster box pricing was directly correlating the price of Jace the Mind Sculptor. Because if you got any more than $300, you would just go buy a box and hope to get lucky.
Right.
Or 2 boxes, because you could buy 2 boxes. It's the price of Jace. It was just silly shit.
Yeah.
But if you open two boxes in brick, then you're like, oh god, now I still have to go buy a Jace. Like, you're in a really bad spot.
Wow.
But if it wasn't for the fact that you could buy packs, because the packs were print to demand, they didn't stop printing. They weren't scarce.
Yeah.
You could just keep buying boxes and get Jaces and sell them. And so if there was no packs to buy, Jace would have gone up to like $500-$600.
Sarah is learning the intricacies of card economics right now because of Lorcana.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've been looking at Lorcana right now at all, but Lorcana is also called Porcana often because the game can be incredibly, incredibly cheap to play. But it just so happens that right now, if you want to play the most competitive version of the game, you can't do that. Like decks are now like $300-$400 a pop. Which is...
That's not even that much.
I know.
For a card game. Like, that's not crazy expensive.
It's not before
It's
Lorcana,
more than casual players want to spend.
Right.
Yeah.
For Lorcana, it absolutely is. And so Sarah's been very dismayed by this. Just that she's like, I want to play these things that I know that are strong. I want to play the cards in the new set. But they just printed this in the new set. They were just very aggressive about printing chase cards. And some of them are incredibly well designed, like they're good because of the meta, like they're good meta choices, and so they're a little expensive because of the meta right now. But there are some cards that are just fucking turned, right? They're just way above the Jedi curve on purpose.
Push bullshit.
Yeah. And so Sarah, and so basically I told her, I was like, you know, this is the crux of like gaming, right? Like TCG gaming. Do you say, okay, this is push bullshit, so I'm going to buy it no matter what? Or do you say,
draw the line?
Yeah, do you draw the line and say, you know what? No, I'm going to play this game
far,
without
no
it.
further.
Yeah. And so she actually drew the line, and she's like, nope, I'm just not going to play those cards. I'm going to look at this other thing. And so she built some other decks, and I did the opposite. So we decided for each other we were going to get each other. We said $100 worth of new Lorcana cards, and we just go to TCG Player, and I made 3 decks, and she made 1. But I'll say $150 what it was, because she made one much more expensive deck because she really wanted to try some of the more expensive card in the game because she hasn't yet. And I was like, nope, give me some budget stuff, budget all day long. And so
also as a casual player, like, you know, the prices will probably eventually come down, and then you'll be able to get them on the back end, or just use your wife's deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Does she understand now how your gaming budget can balloon sometimes? Is she like,
yeah.
So do you broach that topic, or you just hope that it's better not to talk about it?
We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, no. This actually did come up, and it actually helped her, because I think if it wasn't for Lorcana, I never could have gotten to Flesh and Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Because when she was getting into Lorcana, and she was like, okay, so she wanted to buy a booster box of the latest set, and that's $100, and she got it, and she got done, and she didn't really get her money back, but she didn't really care because she just wants to play with cards.
First experience opening a box.
Yeah, she wanted that, and so and then she wanted to buy some more cards, and it was like $150. I said, just so you know, Sarah, you're seeing now how every 3 to 4 months you're spending another $100. So over the course of a year, that's probably around $400 plus dollars to play the game if you want to keep up with it. And she said, oh, okay, that's about right. And I said, yeah. So I want to pay $500 to play a game and be set up for the foreseeable future. It's not a kind of game that expands like that. And she said, oh, okay, fine. And I was like, oh, very well. Bye. Just like as a kid, because I was just like, I expected there to be a little bit of a fight, or a little bit of pushback, or like let's consider, let's compromise.
It's much easier to put it into relevant context.
Yeah,
right.
So it actually helped me in that sense. She was not, rather than being terrified of how much money I've been spending, she was more like, oh, okay, so this seems like actually a fair thing. If I would have told her I want to spend $500 on my hobby, she would have been like, ooh, I don't know if we should do that. And instead she was like, okay, you could do that, but we probably can't spend any more money on hobby for the rest of the year. The only reason why we're spending money on Lorcana is because we're doing it for our Christmas presents to each other. But that's that's how we justified it. But we're strapped right now with all the renovation. Oh, by the way, Aaron, this is your first time looking. Look, my furniture and carpet is back. I have a room again. I don't know if you noticed that
back, are you saying you did something? It looks the same.
It does look exactly the same as it was before, but there is in fact an incredibly new carpet, and all of my furniture is back in the room.
Are you sure that looks a lot like the old carpet?
It's very similar, but in color it's very similar, but in content it's not. It's a different.
So what did you change?
The carpet.
That seems like a huge waste. I would have just left it.
Parker, you
can't even tell the difference. Why would you update it?
The old one was soaked, if you don't remember that.
I'm happy you're happy.
I mean, I would have just personally not poured moldy water on my floor, and then
it would have been awesome if water didn't come seeping up from every corner of my basement that day. But
isn't it great when you just go to walk around and suddenly you're in water and you're like, this wasn't supposed to be the case. I'm not in the shower.
This is the rest of my week, I guess. Here we go. But thank you, Aaron.
I assume it's more frustrating at home, but it's also frustrating at work.
Yeah, I know you guys had that at work.
When you just step into 4 inches of water and you're like, huh? This isn't supposed to be the case.
Aaron, I know you have no point of reference. This room is the room that's least changed because I also have a drop ceiling above me, which did not change, but every other ceiling in my house was deep, that popcorn surface.
Mm-hmm.
It was all deep popcorned. There was also huge amounts of damage all over my ceiling from various leaks over the years, past 15 years worth of random kids spilling water or a leaky roof here and there. And so literally every single ceiling and every single floor was replaced. And the floor is now, we used to have 9 different floors in the house, like different surfaces. Now we have 3. And we're very, very happy. And they're all new except for the bathrooms upstairs. They're not new yet. They will be once we decide what we want up there. But we didn't change those out. That was the only thing we didn't do. But man, it is nice. It is nice to walk around my home and be like, I live in a nice home, as opposed to, we probably got to do something about that. Like every time I turn a corner, I'm looking like, I got to do something about that. Turn a corner. Oh, fuck, I guess I got to do something about that. I don't have to do that anymore. For at least a little while, I don't have to do that, which is nice.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and jump into Mojo World. This week on Mojo World, for no reason whatsoever, we've randomly decided to do 1978.
I think we did it because it's a great year for movies. I think that's why we did it.
It's a great year in general. Lots of good things started in 1978.
At least
one of my favorite things started. Yeah, one of my favorite things started in 1978. Yeah. It was a good year for map makers. Good map makers.
Map makers.
In 1978.
Those cartographers are just killing it.
Cartography was a strength of 1978, I feel like.
Okay, Parker, I have one question for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the determination of your answer is going to affect our friendship. I just want to give you a heads up on that.
Okay.
I need you to tell me which of these 2 movies is both better and more iconic.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay.
Superman 2 or Mad Max The Road Warrior?
Which one is better and more iconic? Mad Max The Road Warrior.
Okay. All right. We can still be friends.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not close.
We're moving on.
It's not close.
Kenny said that Superman 2 was vastly superior to Road Warrior.
Oh.
I was like, what?
Well, Kenny, in this, as in many other things, is very wrong.
Yeah.
The Road
and by that own admission, he then thinks American Werewolf in London is an even greater and more iconic movie than Superman 2.
That's insane.
That is an undefendable position to have.
Mad Max the Road Warrior is a seminal achievement in popular culture. It's
a top 10 movie in the 80s, which is the greatest fucking generation of movies ever.
It also kind of redefined what the apocalypse genre was. Or rather, it popularized it in a way that that affected every. It is. I akin it to a Lord of the Rings kind of effect, where it happened, it made that big of a splash that every other thing that happened afterward.
It's like Die Hard.
Had to consider it. Yeah.
Genre-defining movie that inspires endless copycats.
Right, and not just copycats, but reverential, right? Homage, right? Mm-hmm. we can't think about a post-apocalyptic future, a dystopic future without these themes, because those themes were made popular by this. And it wasn't even the first movie. Road Warrior was not the first one, right? It was
No,
yeah.
just the original Mad Max
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
But the first Mad Max was such a low budget movie
Yeah.
that they didn't even really get to do what they wanted.
It didn't make the cultural splash either, but it's
Yeah.
it became
But
part
it
of the zeitgeist.
it became popularized enough that they allowed them to go on and make a great movie afterwards.
Right. Man, I can't imagine just how wrong he is, but he is. I can
feel free to message them and let him know.
That makes no sense.
All right, I want you to know that I have 2 movies on this list I have never seen and I had never heard of before today, but I'm going to mention them in the honorable mentions.
Okay.
All right, so Parker, you're going to be up first because you weren't here last week.
Okay. I've got to go with I didn't know I was going to go first. Let's go with...
Well, the fun thing about going first is that you have 0 restrictions and you knew what movies you had the whole time.
I know. So I'm going to go with...
Your cup runneth over.
I know. I'm going to go with...
Parker's only weakness, a decision.
The Lord of the Rings, the animated one.
Yeah, I figured. I expected this. All right. I'm going to leave Aaron's obvious number 1 pick. I'm going to go with lots of bad movies. We're going to do the original Superman. Mr. Aaron.
That's going to leave me with Grease.
Yep.
Followed by National Lampoon's Animal House.
Thank you for taking Grease. I did not want to say it, but that was going to be one of the ones I was left with.
I hate Grease, so I was definitely not going to say it.
I actively dislike Grease. Grease is one of those things that in my life, I can't think of another thing that's turned so much in my mind. Because when I was a kid, I loved Grease.
Because you liked Grease?
Yeah. And then
I never liked it.
As an adult watching it again, I was like, wow, this is just terrible.
I was probably just the typical, male child that dislikes musicals on principle, but I never liked it. So
I just think it's one of those movies that you need to at least watch in your life, right? It is a cultural phenomenon. I'm not going to say it is great, but I'm not going to say a lot of 1978 movies are great. So
yeah,
I was going to say if you said Grease is the greatest movie released in 1978, I wouldn't argue with you. I would just not agree. I was like, this is not worth my time or interest to argue.
Oh,
this
wow.
point.
I just realized I only have 3 movies left, so here we go.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. I'm going to go with Jaws 2.
Okay.
A movie before today I would have said is actively bad.
Yeah. I'm going to go with one that I didn't realize was made this long ago because it was actually a part of my childhood, which is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, I didn't know that either. I didn't see that one.
Yeah. And I get my last one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Everywhich Way But Loose. My dad is a big Clint Eastwood fan, so I've seen that one. It's charming.
Which one is that?
That's the one where he's got the orangutan. That's the famous one. Clint Eastwood is the police officer with orangutan. It's not really his partner. It's just like he gets embroiled in it.
The orangutan?
Yeah.
Oh, I just never heard it pronounced that way before.
Sorry. There's no
orangutan.
G. There's no G in it, so I don't like. I don't know why people put a G in it. I don't think there's not a G in it.
Orangutan.
Yeah, they put orangutan, but it's an orangutan or orangutan maybe. But
okay, I've actually seen that one. I just totally forgot
that
I didn't know that was called. All right, we'll go with Dawn of the Dead. Mr. Aaron.
You guys are saving the podcast, though you don't even know it.
Oh yeah.
Instead of
because you're not going to have to name the one that we had to talk about earlier. You had to get pre-approved.
You are correct. I'm not. You're not forcing me into that. Instead, I'm getting to take The Deer Hunter.
That is a movie that I should have seen, and it makes me really upset that when I saw that there, I was like, oh shit, I have not seen that movie, but I should. I know it's one of those another one of those kind of seminal achievements.
Speaking of, I'm going to put it on my list right now. I really need to start knocking these off. Alrighty. So that completes our list. I will now go through some of my honorable mentions. Since I've not seen any other movies from that year that we haven't already named, I'm going to start naming movies I haven't seen. We're going to go with Slave of the Cannibal God. and Vampire Hookers. I highly recommend watching both of these movies. They're A-list releases from the best year of movies.
I'm not gonna lie. I found one movie I haven't seen all on the list, but I kind of want to see it. I did not realize that Lupin III was making movies in 1978, and I love
the
movies.
ones we've seen are remakes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love Lupin movies. I wonder if I would like the really ancient ones, but we'll see.
Yeah, what's his name? Goemon? What's the samurai's name?
Yeah,
Goemon. Yeah. That the fucking fight scenes with him in that movie are fucking insane.
They are so awesome.
I can't believe I had never heard of them until like 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
I guess it's been longer than that.
I didn't know
it's
that.
Like 2 or 3 years ago was the first time I'd ever heard of them.
All the Lupin movies are great. Like there's not even the ones that don't feature like the Goemon centric ones are amazing. You're right, but even the ones that are featured just like heist movies, they're fun. They're so much fun.
Yeah. Aaron, do you have any honorable mentions?
Return from Witch Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you didn't force me to choose it. Debbie Does Dallas.
Oh, that I wouldn't have argued with that one. Because we'll get yelled at if I don't honorable mention it, I'm going to say Halloween. I just know we'll get yelled at. Well, that was fun. I highly regret ever having to do 1978 movies. I was hoping we get lucky and land on one of the Star Wars movies, but apparently not.
I'm not gonna lie. I was actually really pleased when I saw Attack of the Killer Tomatoes because I could still sing that song. Not every word, but I remember that forever. The weird little fuzzy one too. Like it's just a goofy fucking movie.
Ooh. Cool. Well, that's probably gonna wrap it for us today. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hopefully you had a good time. This has been Brandon.
And Parker.
And Aaron.
And you've just listened to Vampire Hooker.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.